Welcome. My name is Professor Sean Watts. We are going to be talking about global citizenship and how do you actually get those points for the attendance. You don't have to show me your video, but if you don't show me your video, if you show me your video, I can see you're here, I can see you're participating. If you don't show me your video, you need to sign in with the chat and give your name and your student number soon as classes start. And then when classes are finished, you need to write a comment about your experience in the class today to show me that you have stayed all class if you don't want the video. It's best to give that comment at the beginning of class, give that comment at the end of class in the chat, and use the video. That's ideal. Next, if you participate, then it's best to focus on one of the weeks we're going to be talking about. Try to help talk a lot about it. It's both you and the teaching team presenting details, so it's not very formal. Hopefully you can just say something you find interesting about it. And then the other project is worth 80 marks. Again, next week is week 3. You should be introducing it. Week 5, the background. Week 6, 7, 9 is the surveys, especially week 7 before midterm. You should present your introduction and your background and your survey plans. Basically, you present most of your project in week 7 and then also present in week 14. If you have any questions, we have a teaching team. Duong and would you like to say hello so people know who you are and how they can contact you?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my name is Hoa. I'm sure that some of you might already know me from last semester. For this class, professor already explained about class evaluation and class project. So I'm just talk about how you guys can contact me on my Kakao Talk or Facebook using the ID that professor is highlighting on. So can I get somebody confirm that they know my Kakao Talk number? For example, hearing John, do you know my Kakao Talk number?
Yes, I can see the number.
Yes, can you read it out loud for everyone to know as well?
847745629090.
Okay, so that's my Kakao Talk. If you guys need consulting or explaining about the class details, you can talk to me by that account.
We also have another person that may be able to help us. This other person, Cliff Monde from Kenya, he's working on some other projects today, but there are contacts here if you'd like to talk to Cliff or Hua or Tuong or me. Our contacts are here. Next, I'm just going to go through and introduce the general introduction. Again, congratulations. We are in changing times. I haven't seen too many other classes where the president of a university makes the textbook for the class, as I was showing you. So I have to follow that a little bit, but I'm not going to follow it closely because I think we can do much better than that. That's just a base. With coronavirus and the move online and the move for globalization, with the move for technical industry 4.0, we're going to focus on those things. Be aware of that, be aware of your environment, numerous opportunities, how there's many university valuable resources. I work for you guys. Make sure you're aware of that. These teaching assistants, I have great people that are able to help you. Use the resources from me and other professors, and the library for sure has millions of dollars of valuable information you can use to help you get almost any jobs. With these rapid changes, many people are open to new activities. If you want to work for, let's say, the Walmart company, You should be aware that Walmart now knows that they have to work online. Walmart executives are now working with other Walmart staff online anywhere in the world. And since you don't have to have people driving many hours to go through security and to get to a building to have a meeting, all you need to do is just click on your mouse and anybody can just open a video and start talking with you at any time. It takes almost no extra energy. We can get other people to interact with us at any time. Some of you may be aware that in previous classes, I had several executives from Samsung act as visiting professors. They taught the class with me. I had other executives and professors from Denmark, from Romania, from Bulgaria, throughout Europe, through India, through Korea, through Canada, through Vietnam. If you want that again this semester, if you want me to bring in other speakers, hopefully you can see if I'm good or other people are good. Talk about it. Let's bring some of these people in. It's often surprising to get other people to pop in. Next, leverage my experiences. I've worked, I don't know if I'm a perfect global citizen, but I have worked with 128 countries. I've worked with the United Nations on projects and things like that. And I have 30 years, maybe even more doing business experience, 30 years executive experience, in addition to being a professor for over 20 years. So I'm not trying to say anything great. I'm just saying, if you don't tell me something, if you stay quiet in class, all of that valuable stuff that I've had will be wasted. You don't get it. You only get it if you ask and talk about things. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you want. Otherwise, I just need to guess and create the course based on what I guess you need. And I start by, I guessed this course was a course teaching you how to say, hi, my name is Sean. Obviously, we're going to be doing a lot more than that, and I'm super happy for it. But the more you talk, the more I can customize things. And I love to work a lot. You do not have to for this class. It should be really easy to get top marks, but be aware of what Elon Musk, for example, says. 168 hours in 1 week. And it doesn't matter how much you spend time sleeping or at a job or school, most people still have 72 hours of relative free time every week. Use your time wisely. The world is becoming increasingly globalized, online, high tech. Interact with those things, develop your skills now. We can talk a lot. Some of these other classes I teach, we talked about how universities are closing super fast, even in Korea and around the world, especially high schools. Teachers are losing their jobs. I'm actually maybe helping those things. I put a lot of our classes online. You can, and you should, sign up for my YouTube channel and check some of these other videos related to class. youtube.com/c/Sean Watts. So be aware of that. Strive for a better future for yourself. Start planning, doing proactively now. We've already talked about the marking system. Is this clear to you, everyone? I'm going to ask questions like that all the time, but I can't continuously see who's in class. So I'm just going to allow Tuong, whenever I ask a student question, Tuong can pick the student that's been quiet and check. Is this chart clear? Can you pick somebody, Tuong, to check?
Yes. So can Lim Jung-gu Won, could you help us to clarify this table about the evaluation? Jung-gu Won. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jung-woo Won.
Yes.
Can you tell me a comment? What is this table showing you?
Grading and evaluation.
Okay, is it clear or do you have any questions?
Unclear.
You're clear. Okay, so you understand the attendance, these marks pretty clear. You understand the partition points. You should try talking almost every class, especially pick one of those weekly classes to talk a lot. You do not have to attend classes. Ichanghyun, that doesn't mean quit my class and don't ever show up again. You should try to come every class. but you don't have to if you have medical emergencies. You can contribute to the class Facebook groups if you want to skip some things. You understand that in your project, you're working with other people in a group. You should have 10 reliable sources together with other stuff. So have that in your presentation, and put all of your files that you're going to be using into one Google Drive folder and email editing status links to the drshawnwatts.teaching@gmail.com, so the teaching team can help you develop, and we can share and see development of your files. Week 3 is next week. You should start to get ready to work with your teammates soon this week. Now, the president seems to like the idea of you guys working together a lot for global citizenship. So just introduce what is the project you guys will do and why is it important. Be as specific as you can. And then week 5, talk about the background, what other people are saying about it. Week 6, 7, 8, survey information. You present all of this stuff together in week 7 as an overview, and then present before the last week. As we've done in other classes, you should follow the normal style. We will be talking about why the topic is important next week. That is the introduction. Be specific. Try to talk about what you want to do to teach the world something new, and what do you want to teach the world and why it's important. And then week 5, what other people are saying. If you want to go to graduate school, you might want to reference them. Reference people in companies you can work with, in addition to the good researchers. So we're going to be following this style. We have, this is your first week of class, but it's the second week of university. The university has a policy. In week 1, we can change what we teach really easy in week 1. And we can change how we evaluate and grade you in week 1 really easy. In week 2, we can still change things and we can still change the evaluations, but it's a little bit harder. So if you want to change what I'm teaching or how I'm teaching, please talk to the teaching team so I can understand it, and we need to get the class to agree and we can change it. You guys are the boss. You guys pay me. We work for you. This is just an example of how we're going to evaluate, but we are going to actually evaluate this way, following these point systems that we've talked about. So after you understand the evaluation, make sure that you understand to be a global citizen, you need to be respectable and reliable overall for success. Otherwise, you could achieve the highest levels of success like Donald Trump, but may lose a lot of respect if you continue talking about things that are, what's the correct way to say bullshit online. So have good, reliable, respected information. The Web of Science is the most respected, and then Scopus journals are the second most respected. Try to use 7 to 10 references from there. These are examples. And then you can use any other journals, magazines, companies, university details, government details, CNN, BBC, Facebook blog. These are less reliable because they don't have experts checking details, but they're new versus some of this reliable stuff might be a little bit old. So have a little bit of both, and then reference properly. When you reference, make sure you understand you have to show the author's name and the year in every page, in every slide, in everywhere that you're finding information if you don't make it yourself. And then at the end of your presentation, author's name, first initial, the year of publication, the title of the paper, the journal title, the volume number, page number, and the DOI, digital object identifier, or the exact website. That would be good. So start finding anything that you want to specialize in related to global citizenship, and that can be your project. Try to become a specialist in it. Work with somebody else. Some of you like working alone. Well, great. That's not exactly a citizen. That's a global hermit. You need to learn how to work with other people. So we have assigned you into groups. As you can see here, these are the groups of people that you're going to be working with. You guys can all see this okay? Jungwon, you see who is in your group?
Yes.
Who, can you tell me who is in your group?
정성진.
Great. You only have 2 people in your group. Great. What about Im Mingyu?
전혜린 and 정서윤.
Great. You guys should send us the comments. Maybe you can do it in the chat group here and add comments to this. So somebody, Lee Chang-hyun, you have put something, but I don't really understand what this is. It would be good if you give your email address or your Facebook, whatever you want to use to contact other people, and we can put that in. Great.
That is my KakaoTalk ID.
Okay. Okay, so KKT means KakaoTalk ID. Okay, great. I guess I could have guessed that, but I didn't know that. That's a good example. With global citizenship, everyone speaks a certain language. Everyone has a certain culture. Everyone has their own values. Even though we're in the same group and we share a certain interest, I didn't really understand what Lee Chang-hyun thought was common for everybody. So be careful to make sure what you think is normal is not normal to other people. So hopefully that helps. After you find your topic that you're going to be working with, it's best to develop something that is already respected and reliable and change details for you to have a specialization slightly different. Here is an example of an ideal student paper that has done that. Scanned published articles, brainstorm new ideas, try to check to make sure it's a new hot topic, fun topic, interesting for other people to appreciate. Will the company like it? Will an employer like it? Is it teaching something new? Is it providing benefit or solutions to a company? Does it add new knowledge? Make sure you understand you can get help from an alumni and interact with contacts inside the company. This red in Korea, usually we're not supposed to write in red because it means what? Who else is in it? Lee Da-young. I haven't heard from you. How are you today, Lee Da-young?
I'm good.
Can you tell some people what is the danger or what is the problem of writing in red in Korea?
It's that thing.
It's that what? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Writing red is forcing sentences.
It's what?
The way to forcing the sentences.
Okay, it's making a sentence more important. Yes, and that's my purpose here. But I believe in Korean culture, writing a name in red generally means that person is dead, especially for old people. Your grandparents wouldn't write anybody's name in red because traditionally that means some bad luck. Somebody's going to die or somebody's already dead. Have you heard that before? What about E. Joseph? Have you heard that before or am I just crazy?
Yes, I've heard that before.
Great. So I'm writing in red just to point this out and to help us start talking about this global citizenship. This red is good examples of what other students have done before. You can click this link and see a folder of many files that a student found, many articles, and how they've drafted a PPT. That's all you need to do. This student went on and they actually made a paper that may be published, and then examples of what you can present in week 7. So that's examples. Next, you need to learn how to use the library. It seems like everybody here is kind of an advanced student, which is good. You should know how to use the library, but if you don't, these are instructions on how to use the library to download articles like this. It's best if you use 7 to 10 reliable Scopus Journal articles like this, and then you can download them. Contact us if you have any questions with that. Ideally, again, you find a good, reliable article and you replicate that style, you replicate that format, and you just change the details. This is talking about social media use in Europe. Well, these other Korean students, they love social media use, but not just Europe. They change the paper to be social media use in Korea, specifically with L'Oreal Cosmetics in Korea, and they used it to get an internship with L'Oreal, and some of these students are now working full-time with L'Oreal. That's what I'd like you guys to help with, talking about how this big global company can take things from Korea, like a global citizen, and help people in other countries learn about whatever is interesting to you, including cosmetics like this. This, again, is an example of what we showed you before, these links to other students. You should have a folder in Google that you can share edit access to the teaching team and download many of these good journals or even Facebook stories or blog stories. Save them in your folder so we can see that, start developing a PPT, present your PPT in week 7. And you don't have to, but if you do present a student paper, pretty much guarantee you will get top marks for class. Why? Because just sitting and listening in the class is boring. You don't get a lot of benefit. Try interacting. If you start interacting, for example, sharing each one of those articles, if it's a Scopus journal, they're worth $50 each. So that's shimanon, 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 shimanon. This is like Begmanon or $1,000 here just in research articles. You can summarize this to a company. The company should be happy that you've given them not only $1,000 of valuable, top quality, top respected information, but you've summarized it to help them. Any executive should be happy to get that. And then you can start continuing your research aligned for the company or with the company and use that to get your internship and job. So we do our class work. We develop a project, a research project. That's step 1. Step 2, interact with the graduates, the students that have already gone through Kim Young University and may be working with the company you like now. Talk to them. They should help you, and interact with a local company that you want to work with. Whatever your project is when you're finished, you could publish it in a student paper or an international paper. I can help. That publication can go onto your CV and build your resume, make you a better global citizen. And step 5, understanding that some global citizens like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Bill Gates are crazy rich, working with companies that are crazy, crazy, crazy rich. $2 trillion a company might be worth. So they know that some people are angry that they have so much money. So they have a marketing department. To be a global good citizen, they give money back all the time. Usually they give it to citizens. Usually they give it to students. So if you understand that, we can help teach you how to get money to do your class project. Ultimately, you should be developing your goals, learning about how to work with other people, and start by writing details down. Understand how alumni might be at a higher level. They can introduce you to other people. Understand what activities can you join to meet people at a higher level to get closer to your dreams. Understand how the world is changing. The whole idea with coronavirus, almost everybody is online. People from Zimbabwe or South Africa to Argentina to Chile and Canada and France and Europe and Russia. Everybody's online together. It's almost never happened before. It's just starting now. So global citizenship is incredibly important. You basically have to live online. You basically have to interact with other people online. What you might not have talked about or thought of is, since everybody's online, and right now it's just one click to interact with somebody in South Africa or Brazil, they could hire that person from Brazil. They don't have to hire somebody from our city or our country. And you're competing with those other people. Start realizing that. Start leveraging these opportunities so you can be better able to work. So follow those class goals. Know the difference between quality, like Scopus, versus popularity, like CNN or Facebook or Wikipedia. Understand that Scopus is good, gossip is new. It's not reliable, but it's still good in some ways. Know yourself. Most people in the world, surprisingly, don't know who they really are. Most people in the world, I'll bet you $1,000, if you survey somebody and ask them to identify who they are, what is their culture, what makes them different than somebody from Buenos Aires or somebody from any other city in the world, most people will not really understand. Somebody in New York will say, I don't know, I eat French fries. Well, the people in Buenos Aires or the people in Paris, they eat French fries too. So that's not your culture. Food is not really defining who you are. So try to learn who you are. The Jung personality test or humanmetrics.com will help you understand that. 16personalities.com will help you understand that. There's many ways that can identify your personality, your characteristics, what jobs match you, what careers match you, how you best learn, how you best communicate. And then you identify your skills and talents that you agree with or you think are good. And then try to have a career being a good person around the world, but try to find out what the world wants. Don't foolishly follow other people blind. Try to do good. Try to do things that help you in the world as a good citizen. Develop your specialization today, weekly. You have almost 8 billion competitors. Leverage this class project with a different view for more benefit. Writing this term project or term paper. With almost no extra effort, students may get talks with executives, maybe an internship to add to your resume, get a chance to get paid to do classwork, get publications to add to your resume, get a consultation report that you can help a company and add to your resume, develop connections with companies. Kwan, Junha, can you tell me what class did you study last semester?
Last semester?
Yes.
Oh,
Is there anything from last semester, just 3 or 4 months ago, has made your life better today, now, going forward, tomorrow, going forward? I'm not just talking about I learned something. How can the world see it made you better? Most people, they work, they made a project, they made a paper, but that paper went in the garbage. So I'm telling you to think differently. Think about how you can be a better global citizen to impact the world. Change your resume, make a publication, make a grant, help other people, interact with a company. Get this big picture experience and see how you can help. Helping those trillion-dollar companies give money away. Just take money from them is helping them. And help work with other world experts and classmates in your dream company. Good, I hope that's pretty clear. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know your characteristics, you can go through a mind map. Write your main interests and characteristics on a blank page, no job titles, and these characteristics may match a job. Write down characteristics that describe you that you really like, and then get a friend to write on the other side, what job does that look like? So this one, helping people, loving the human body, being practical, challenges, making results, that idea of helping people with the human body and stuff. Many people say that looks like a medical doctor. And so this is my sheet from when I was 14 years old, and it's still true today. One thing that I've learned is you should also write down what you don't like, and it will help you even more. If you want to be more specific, you can go through this Jung typology test. Carl Jung developed this long time ago at the same time as Sigmund Freud. Almost all of you know of Sigmund Freud. He promoted himself. Carl Jung didn't, but this idea came from him. I believe it's even more important than Sigmund Freud's details. And so you can learn this through humanmetrics.com or 16personalities.com. It will tell you what is your personality, what is your character, what job and career matches you, what type of person matches you for dating or marriage, whatever you want, what type of learning matches you, what type of communication matches you. And it's not too hard. You just need to go through a few questions. It's about 30 to 60 easy questions. Yes, no, or yes, 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 really yes, or really no questions describing yourself. And that will help identify you for the world. Almost everybody in this class, as far as I know, you have a Korean name. So I will ignorantly just assume you're all Korean. Maybe you guys are aware of Hot Pink, for example, and assume everybody there is Korean, even though some of them are not. Some of them are from Australia or New Zealand and Thailand, but people think they're from. Anyway, what is our culture? Do you guys understand your culture? Joseph Lee, do you avoid things in your life? Is there anything that you avoid?
What do you mean by avoid certain things?
Okay, there's one. I asked a question and you didn't give an answer. You just said, "Oh, can you be more
Oh.
specific?" So that's a good point. But what I'm saying is, do you like trying anything new? If you're in class, do you speak up all the time, or do you usually stay quiet? To avoid those new things, new opportunities, or do you usually stay quiet?
I'm sort of in the middle of it. I sometimes speak up and I sometimes just stay quiet.
Okay. Are you a traditional, regular Korean person that has been born and raised and lived in one city most of your life?
No.
Or- okay, good. So you're not a normal person. You're like me. At least
Yeah.
I am a freak. I've lived in many countries. So do you understand this? This idea of Korea, the culture of most Korean people, not everybody, not you, not me, for example, but most Korean people, they actually have a culture almost identical to people in El Salvador or Venezuela, surprisingly. Korea has generally the highest uncertainty avoidance in the world. They have a low level of tolerance for anything uncertain. So they have very strict rules, laws, policies. Can you see this? Do you want me to make
Oh
this?
yeah, I can see it.
Since this is kind of interesting, I'll try to make this screen a little bit bigger. So this shows that they have very strict rules, laws, policies, and regulations that are adopted and implemented. They try generally to control everything and eliminate or avoid unexpected details, like talking in class. Usually that's normal. That's not normal, so they don't usually do that. However, you want to be a global citizen? I'm not a typical Korean, so try to work with my style or try to work with a different non-Korean style. Try to stop avoiding new things. Korea generally does not readily accept change, and it's very adverse. They avoid risky things they don't know. And so if we look at that, Korean culture is green, El Salvador culture is purple, green, purple, almost the same with power distance. That's talking about how some people are super powerful and people that are not powerful accept they're not the same. And they expect people are not the same. And the hierarchy in Korea, usually they'll put the government or president at the top, and then sometimes teachers may be up there with Confucian policy, and young people or students would be at the bottom. So usually in Korea, the young students accept and they expect they're not on the same level as a professor. So they usually don't chit chat. They usually don't ask questions. They just usually say, "Agasimnida, samsenim, yeah, things like that." But that's not us. That's not the global citizen. I want you guys to go beyond that. Individualism. Usually you only work in groups, but El Salvador is your twin. They work with groups almost all the time. Masculinity, your preference for being aggressive for jobs is almost the same. But orange, United States, or blue, Denmark, very, very different here. Hugely different with individualism. Very different with job interests and uncertainty avoidance. People in Denmark, did you know that the king of Denmark used to take the bus to work every day and buy the 50-cent bus coupon every day? The king of the country. And so if somebody dropped something, he would pick it up. The king of the country. Is that the same way? Who is a new student in class? Can somebody, Kim, Kuna, would you say the president of Korea would do the same? Would he take the bus to work? If you dropped something on the ground, would the president of Korea, if he was walking next to you, would he pick up your pencil if you dropped it and give it to you? What do you think?
I am not sure actually. I never imagined about that situation.
What would you guess? Do you think the president of Korea would ride the bus or the subway with you?
I think they will not ride a bus or subway with me because they have their own pride.
Pride.
Yeah.
So the king. Oh, look at your answer. Is it okay if I am a little bit shocking in class? For example, you just said somebody in Korea has pride, but what I said earlier is the king of another country takes the bus. So what you're saying indirectly is the king of another country doesn't have pride. Oh my God. So good. So keep saying things like that. By practicing and talking in class, you learn how to be better global citizenship in class before you go mess up in the real world. Does that make sense? Lee Jian?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Pardon?
How would you define these details? Does this describe you? This says Korea is one of the most uncertainty avoiding countries in the world. It maintains rigid codes of belief and behavior and is intolerant of unorthodox behavior and ideas. And there is emotional need for rules. Are you the same way, EGN?
I think kind of like in the highlighted part with yellow, like even if the rules never seem to work, time is money, people have an inner urge to be busy. I think I do agree in this. Like a lot of people in other countries say that Korean people always look busy and work hard. And I
Oh wow,
think I
where
agree.
where are you reading? Does this say busy? I didn't notice this screen talking about being busy or going fast. I know Korean culture is bally, 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 go, 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 busy, busy, busy. I know that's true. What you're saying is true, but I didn't see, I wrote that on this slide at all. I thought this was
On the
talking
bottom
about,
part,
does it? Oh yes, you're right. They have an inner urge to be busy and work hard. Right, yes, you're right. So what I was focusing on is, do you avoid new things? Do you prefer to have strict rules, laws, policies? Do you prefer for a professor to say, today we're going to talk about this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this, and you only talk about this. You don't talk about other things. Or
I do like that. I do it. Yeah.
so surprise, I am different. I am your testing block for trying to be a global citizen. I'm sure you're all polite Korean citizens, but if you now start interacting online with somebody from South Africa or Brazil or France or Canada, you need to understand the different way of interacting. So practice, screw up with me, make many shitty results and examples with me so you can learn from them. So you don't insult me, don't insult other people. I am very confident in who I am. I'm never going to cry based on what you say or do. So practice with class. Good, thank you. You understand my point, I hope. If anybody has questions, please ask. Next, the idea of what's happening now. Are you guys really aware of what's happening now? Are you aware that life is changing more in these 2 years, and it will change even more in the next 5 years than history has changed in the last 50 years, possibly more in the last 100 years? So let's look at times in all history when life and civilization has changed. In the 1400s, so today is 2021, so more than 600 years ago, life changed when they made a printing press and they started making books. And then in 1663, they started making reliable books that were checked by other experts. And that changed the world. And then they developed the telegraph where you could communicate across oceans and across continents. That changed things. Then in the 1930s, they invented the telephone. Then they invented the radio, the TV, the internet. Things have changed. But things are changing more rapidly, both. There's more changing and they're more rapidly changing in these 5 years, in the last 2 years, and the next 3 years, than possibly in the last 50 years, maybe even in the last 100 years. So be aware of how these changes are really changing you. The idea of who is successful? What is a good global citizen? Several people may say Steve Jobs, he made the Apple computer or the iPhone. That changed the world. He's a great global citizen. Well, he's not that special, actually. Bill Gates, he created computers and Microsoft that is basically used around the world. He also is not an alien. He's not that really special. He just used his time differently. He used his time and his environment very well. So if you use your time well, if you use your environment well, there's bigger opportunities for you than Steve Jobs or Bill Gates had. Both of them were born in 1955 when personal computers were just starting. They were born in a community that had the very first personal computers for them to play with in middle school and high school. And they played so much with it, by the time they got to university, they knew more than the other teachers around. But there's more opportunities today than that. The idea of personal computers or phones or injected devices, artificial intelligence, the idea that you can work with anybody on the planet easily. You can interact with and communicate with anybody in the planet easily. You can talk to people anywhere on the planet immediately. The idea of companies don't want people to work in their building anymore, and they have to work online, means they can hire anybody in the world to work for them. So when you apply for a job, you are now applying for a job with somebody from Brazil and somebody from France and somebody from Iceland at the same time. Learn how you're working with those details. They are not the most successful in history. For example, the Carnegies, 1835, they had over $1 billion for steel business. JP Morgan in 1937, the same time, had over $1 billion for banking, steel, electricity. Vanderbilt had over 178 billion, more than Bill Gates, for shipping in 1877, same time. The Rockefellers, almost the exact same time, 1839, they had $663 billion for the oil business. And now oil may be dying. Oil may be disappearing. Universities may be disappearing. Schools may be disappearing. Why? Any idea why? Why could a school be disappearing? Yunso, Kim Yunso. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good, sir.
If I say something crazy like schools or school buildings might disappear or oil may disappear, can you guess why? Is it because I'm drunk and taking drugs, or is there a reason? Why could I say schools are disappearing or oil is disappearing?
You mean what happens to if school disappear or oil?
What makes them disappear? Why do I say they might disappear? Or did you know that hundreds of schools are closing every month? Or oil is losing value. People are not going to need oil. They're not interested in oil anymore. Am I just a crazy old man? Am I drunk even though it's early in the morning?
I never think about that.
Go ahead, continue thinking, and if you can come up with an idea, just yell it out. Lee Dong-young, can you tell me also, why do you think I'm saying oil is disappearing or school buildings are disappearing? Kim Ji-soo, any of you three students together, you're in a group, give me an answer. Give me a guess. Korean uncertainty avoidance. Nobody's talking. Talk!
Because the advanced technology, I guess.
Sure, yes. YouTube. This video will go on YouTube. I'm teaching something to you guys in a university, but next week, anybody in the world can see it in YouTube. So why go to a school building if you can just learn things on the internet many times for free? So because of that, and especially in Korea, the age of people is changing. There's not many students anymore. I believe there's more than 100 schools have been closing their doors forever in Korea every month since 2020 started. So there's more than 1,000 schools that have been closing in Korea, if I'm correct. And with oil, the growth of electricity, the growth of electric cars, the growth of renewable energy is lowering the importance of cars. There's now so many people now using electric cars that gasoline and oil cars are less valuable. Oil has less need. So that's just one example. Make sure you understand your environment. Make sure you understand how the world is changing, how you can interact as a global citizen. Understand your talents and your passion, and you must understand the environment, the market need that I was talking about. If it's new to you, this book by Malcolm Gladwell, he teaches the idea of outliers. It's very interesting to look at that. What he's saying is anybody can do anything, and most success comes from your timing and your environment. Like these guys, their timing, they were born and raised when personal computers started. They were in the communities that had personal computers before anybody else. You guys are born and now you're adults with coronavirus that made everybody focused on health. It makes everybody work online. It makes everybody, because you work online, you can talk to anybody online from any country. And that idea of working with technology, artificial intelligence is also impacting your life. You must start being aware of these details. This talks about companies, market capital. Apple company, for example, more than $2 trillion. Microsoft, about the same, $2 trillion. Amazon, Alphabet, more than $1.5 trillion. Understand that these companies, many, many, many big companies, they always give money back to students. If you apply, there's many other people applying also, so it's like a lottery ticket, a lotto ticket, but you could get hundreds of thousands of dollars or samok or shibok just to do your classwork. So be aware of that. Companies, executives make lots and they give back. Think big, dream big, go big. Don't just be quiet while your life goes by. Understand how, did you guys understand that the top 1% of people, if these are all people in a country, this is the poorest 1%, this is the middle 50% average, and this is the top 1%, the most wealthy people in the country, Jung, Yudam, can you guess how much does this top 1% own? Any guess? If we say all of the money in the country or all of the assets in the country, can you understand how much that top 1% own? Or the top 10%? Any guess? Take any guess.
More than $1 trillion.
Sure, yes. The top quarter of people, this top quintile, owns more than 80% of everything in the world. The top quintile of people in the world, just that top fraction, they own more than 80% of every asset in the world. The bottom half of people in the world own almost nothing. So be aware of that. It's pretty interesting. The top 8 families in the world own about half of the world themselves. The top quintile own 80% of the world. It's shocking. So if you understand that, and you understand big companies like Ford, if you send them 100 words talking about our university and our group of people, if you write 100 words about the president or the director of international relations or my background, whoever's going to work with you, and 100 words describe what you want to research, and then describe 100 words, why does the world care? And then just put your name, your email, and how much money you want. They could give you $300,000 or $1 million, just 400 words. So be aware of that. Any company, whether it's FedEx, eBay, 3M, Citi Foundation, Ford Company, Microsoft, almost every big multinational company has these offices called foundation offices in their marketing department that helps give this money away, and usually to students. The normal amount, as you can see here in Korea, I believe recently in 1 year, there's 822 people asking for this money, asking for this grant. These 822 people, they got $1.09 billion in just free money. So that's $1.3 million each person. So that's what, ship samok each. And in Vietnam, it was saying 400 people applied and they got $125 million. So it's $300,000 or samok they got each. So be aware of that. You might be able to get paid to do your classwork and help a company. When you're doing your projects, the advanced educated social science experts in the world, they usually do what is respected. So you should copy what is respected, copy the proper style. They usually have the abstract, the introduction, the background literature, the methods, results, conclusion, and they reference properly. So try to do that same thing. Eventually, if you do enough of it, you can guarantee you will be successful too. If you do 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, becoming an expert in something, you will be successful. So this just shows Bill Gates, the Beatles, Mozart, they all followed this same thing. You just practice enough and you will become an expert. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. These are my contacts, the teaching team's contacts. It's about 1 o'clock right now. We still have more time, but to get back to the class again, before I go into the PPTs of our class today, and we still have other PPTs, like down here in week 1, we should be talking about this idea of formatting yourself for familiarity. So we've already gone through this PPT. We've already identified this PPT or our contacts. I would like to hear more about you guys. Your chapter, the aim is just to introduce yourself, start doing more participation, not just the theory-based details. So I would like to ask you guys, if you pick, I'm going to ask the students in our class, if you pick one characteristic that a student has, what would it be? What would you say is one core character trait of students? Yujung, what would you say? What is a core characteristic? How do you describe a student? What's one core trait? Yujung? Are you there? What about Kim Jisoo? Would you be able to answer?
Can you say the question again?
It's the question that's on the screen. If you pick one character trait that a student has, what would it be?
Kindness.
Kindness. So all students are kind? Ha ha! I have many students that are terrible. I think they're related to the devil in my class. I tell them to talk and they don't talk. I wish I knew the students you knew. Really? Oh my gosh, kind? What about Song Hyunsung? Do you know the kind students that Kim Jisoo knows also? Song Hyunsung?
Yes.
So you say that you do know the devil students that I know, or you know the super kind students that Kim Jisoo means? I asked you a question. Maybe you didn't listen to the question. The question was, if you pick one character trait that a student has, what would it be? Yes is not an answer. How do you describe a student? What is popular character of students? In Korea, we could say students are uncertainty avoiding. That's a high characteristic. A good answer would be, okay, let me think about that for a while. A bad answer internationally for a global citizen to say nothing, that's a really bad answer. That's really rude. You should say something, at least say, let me think. That's a better answer. How about Kim So-hyun?
Yes.
Ditto. I wanted to repeat everything I just said for the last student.
Sir. I think patience.
Good. So you have patience. You think most students in the world have patience. Okay. I would guess curiosity, but maybe I'm from a different age, different culture. I'm from an older culture. I'm from a Canadian culture. In my opinion, students are defined as being curious. Maybe less in your generation, Generation Z or millennial generation. So I don't know. You guys need to identify who you are. And so today's activity is to identify who you are. So far, we've heard somebody say they're kind, somebody, and I know many students that are not, that I went to school with. I knew some really bad students. They were my best friends at university, really bad. And they were very curious. But you say students around you that you know are kind and patient. Great. I can't say right, I can't say wrong. It's just that's the way you know. So what is a global citizen? We need to understand there's certain views to that. We are going to talk about the light on me, then the light on others, then the light on the world. We need to start understanding who are you, who is me. Help students to improve your self-esteem through various activities like presenting about themselves and drawing a vision map for their future. So I want you guys to introduce yourself and then get ready to understand other people around you, and then get ready to communicate with people around the world. So how are we going to do that? I have sent you guys this PPT file that talks about the light on you. I want you to go through and everybody write down, who are you? But I am a picky old man. I don't want to know that you have a pink dog. I don't want to know that your favorite ice cream is chocolate. What I want to know is your character for your future development, how you'll interact with the world. So I want to know basically your dream. And so write down who you are and what might be a cool dream or your character. Where? In our class, we have the class email. You can email that too, but we also have a class website. This is, again, the president has identified, you need to understand the light on you, and then the light on others, and the light on the world. So the president of the university, chapter 1, says you need to start identifying yourself and your dreams so everyone else in the class can get practice to start introducing yourselves, number 1, and then start trying to understand other people, number 2, and start working in a group, number 3. So that's our homework for today. Other than that, we have different examples, but I believe our class time is finished today.